Hi guys, welcome back to With Love Leisha. Today I have a great beginner-friendly project for you. I'm going to be showing you how to crochet a granny square. And we're going to crochet it in such a way that you can turn it into a granny square, continuous granny square blanket, which is a granny square that just goes on getting larger and larger until you get the blanket size that you desire. And this is a great project for beginners because we're going to be working in between the stitches rather than into each stitch. Okay, for this project you need to know the double crochet stitch, and I'll link a tutorial on that if you don't know it. You also need to know how to do a starting chain, and I'll link that as well. But if you stick with me, I'm sure you'll pick it up as we go along. Okay, so to start off here, I'm going to start off with my yarn laying over my hook, the tail facing away. We're going to bring it over this string that's still attached to the skein. Yarn over and pull down through that loop. That gives you your slip knot. Now we're going to chain 4. Yarn over and come down through the loop. That's how you create a chain. Do that 4 times to chain 4. Now come down into your first chain that you created without turning or twisting this chain 4. Just come straight back down. Yarn over, and we're going to pull through both these loops that are on our hook. This is a slip stitch, and we're creating a slip stitch because we want to create a circle for us to work into. So we're slip stitching the top and the bottom of our chain together. Now we're going to do a chain 3, and this serves as our first stitch. Our first double crochet is actually going to be our chain 3. And let me just show you really quickly what we're working into. We have 4 sets of 4 double crochets, and then we have these corners. So right now we're working on our first set. We have a chain 3 for our first stitch. Now we're going to crochet 3 double crochets to get a total of 4 stitches. So yarn over and go into the center of that circle, and you want to make sure that you're working into the center and you're not going into one of the stitches on the side. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through your next 2. We're going to do that 2 more times. Yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So now we have our first set of 4 stitches. Now we're ready to create a corner, and we're going to chain 3 to create our corner. And now we're going to do our second set. So I'm going to speed up here a little bit just for the sake of time. If you need to pause to catch up with me, definitely, that's totally fine. And if you need to rewind to see something, don't hesitate. So you yarn over and then you insert into the center of the circle, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through your first 2 loops, yarn over and pull through your next 2 loops. And keep counting your stitches to make sure you have a set of 4. Now again, we're going to create a corner by chaining 3. And then we're going to get started on our next set. So I finished my third set of 4 double crochets. Now we're going to do a corner again. Chain 3 for your corner. And now we're going to work on our last set. So yarn over and insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through your first 2 loops, yarn over and pull through your next 2 loops. So I have my 4th set here. Now we're going to chain 3 to create our last corner. And now we're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain in our chain 3, the top chain. And you find that by finding the top of this first double crochet, you want to go into the stitch next to it. So insert your hook into that stitch or into that chain, yarn over, and we're going to pull through both the loops on our hook straight on through. Now we're going to chain 3 and we're ready to work on our next round. Make sure you turn over at this point. This is a very important step. Turn your work. This will make sure that your square doesn't start spinning on a spiral as it gets bigger. So now the backs of the stitches of the previous round should be facing you, should be up. And so now our chain 3 is the first stitch and we're working into the corners here. So we need 3 double crochets to add to this to make our first set. So yarn over, insert into the center of that corner, and you're working into the corner, so you're just going back into this corner. Now I have my first set. Once you finish your first set, you're going to chain 3, and then we're going to go back into that same corner, and we're going to do another set of 4 double crochets. So you will have 8 double crochets in that first corner. Well, actually you have 7 and you have your chain 3. So yarn over, insert, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through your first 2 loops, yarn over and pull through your next 2 loops. Now once you finish your second set of double crochets, you're going to chain 1. So when we move from one space to the next space, we chain 1. I finished with this corner here. I'm moving to the next space. Now I'm working on my first set of 4 double crochets in the second corner. I'll link some information on yarn for you in the description box, what's good yarn and hook size and yarn weight. And I think there might be a option to slow down the playback speed. YouTube offers that if I'm not mistaken. You can definitely do that and slow down the playback if you need the visuals to slow down for you a bit. So we're doing our first set here. We finished that and we're going to chain 3 and we're going to go back into that same corner. And then we're going to do a second set. You want to have 8 double crochets into your corners. Feel free to pause to catch up with me if you need to. I've worked 8 double crochets into my second corner. Now I'm moving from one space to this next space here. So I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to work another 8 double crochets into this next corner. and I'm going to have 2 sets of 4 double crochets. So I'm going to chain I'm going to chain 3. I finished my first set of 4. Once I chain 3, I'm going back into that same corner, and I'm going to crochet another set of 4 double crochets. So one more time to recap. I'm yarning over, inserting, yarning over and pulling up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Now I finished working into this corner, and I'm moving from one space to the next space. So I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to yarn over, go into the next corner, and work another 8 double crochets into that corner, having 2 sets of 4 double crochets each. And we want to have a chain 3 between each set. So I finished my first set of 4. I'm going to chain 3, yarn over and pull through the loop, yarn over and pull through the loop. Now I'm going to do another set of 4 double crochets into this same corner. Make sure you count your stitches. Okay, so I finished my second set. I have finished 8 double crochets in this corner, and this is my last corner. So now we're ready to complete our round. So we're going to attach into this chain 3 that we did. So we're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain, just like we did before. So go insert, yarn over, and pull up a loop, and then come right through both loops on your hook. And now we're going to chain 3 again. We're going to turn our work so the backs of the stitches are facing us, and we're going to do the same thing we did the last 2 rows. We're putting 4 double crochets into each of these spaces. This time we have spaces in between the corners, so our first set is going into one of those spaces. We have our chain 1 is our chain 3 is our first stitch, and then we're putting 3 double crochets into that first space. So you'll still have a total of 4 stitches. Now we're moving from one space to the next space. So just like before, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to start working into our corners. In the corners, we put 8 double crochets. 2 sets of 4 double crochets each, and chain 3 in between the 2 sets. So we have 3, 4. Now I'm going to chain 3 to create my next corner, and I'm going to put another 4 double crochets into it. And you can definitely pause to catch up with me if you need to. I need to go a little faster just to so that this video isn't super long. Okay, I finished my 8th double crochet. Now I'm moving from one space, we're moving into this space here. So we need to chain 1. Now again, we're going to put 4 double crochets into this space. So 8 double crochets only go into the corners. In the spaces in between the corners in the middle, you're just putting 4 double crochets. You'll get the hang of it. So I finished my 4 double crochets in here. Now I'm going to chain 1. Again, I'm moving from one space to the next. And we're going to put 8 double crochets into this corner. Bear with me here, guys. My hook is not actually right for this yarn, but I seem to have lost my appropriate hook. I apologize. So I have 4 double crochets in this corner, and I'm going to chain 3. And I'm going to put another 4 into the same corner. That's my 8th double crochet in this corner. Now we're moving from one space to the next. We're moving to this space here. So we're going to chain 1. And then we're going to put 4 double crochets into this space. When you finish your 4 double crochets in that space, chain 1. You're moving from one space to the next. We're moving to our corner. And then we're going to put 4 double crochets into the corner, chain 3, and put 4 more double crochets into the same corner. When you finish your 8th double crochet in that corner, we're moving from one space to the next. So we're going to chain 1 and put 4 double crochets into this next space. Remember, the spaces in the middle only get 4 double crochets. Only the corners get 8 double crochets. And when you're moving from one space to the next, remember to chain 1. I'm moving from this space into the corner. So we're going to put 2 sets of 4 double crochets into this corner. And we're going to put a chain 3 in between those 2 sets. So now I'm chaining 3. I'm going to put my second set of 4 double crochets into this corner. And when you finish that, we've come back around to our first set that we began with. Remember to chain 1 after your 8th double crochet in this corner. Now we're going to slip stitch into the top of this chain 3 like we did before. So you're just going to insert your hook into the 3rd chain, the top chain of that chain 3. Yarn over and pull through both loops on your hook. You're going to come through that chain and the other loop that's on your hook. And now I'm going to show you how to finish off. So when you've got the size that you want, your pattern is just going to continue on like this. You'll just end up having more spaces in the middle and then your corners as it goes on growing. So you just remember that your 8 double crochets go in the corners and 4 double crochets go in the middle. And crochet is an art, you guys, so you can definitely change up the number of double crochets you have in the spaces and in the corners. My blanket, I have 3 in the spaces and I have 6 in the corners. I chained 1 in between the spaces. You don't have to chain any in between the spaces. You can play around with it. I'm preparing you guys to be able to make a blanket out of this. That's why I chained 1 between the spaces. And I wanted you to have nice sharp corners, so that's why we chained 3 in the corners. But definitely play around with it and see what works for you, see what you like. The only thing is remember that you're turning your work after every round so your square doesn't start spinning on a spiral. Okay, so to finish off, we have slip stitched into the top of our chain 3. You're going to yarn over and pull through that loop just like we have many times before to create our chains. That is going to create a knot, so tighten. Really pull on that to create a nice tight knot. You want to give yourself a good length tail, so give yourself a couple inches at least, a good amount of yarn, because we're going to weave this into the project. So you want to have a good amount to weave in so that it's not coming out every time this moves. So grab your scissors or your yarn scissors, whatever you have, and go ahead and cut that loop. And then pull on this yarn that's still attached to the skein. And that's it. You have your granny square. And this is not going anywhere. This is a good tight knot. And then you just weave this into your stitches, the tail. You just weave it into your stitches and it just disappears right in there. You can take your hook and weave it in, or you can take a darning needle and you can thread your yarn into the darning needle and really get that hidden into the your project by going into the yarn. So my hook is way too large for this, to be able to do this, and I can't find my smaller hook. I don't know where it disappeared off to. I had it a second ago. So I'm just going to spare you guys watching me trying to do this. You get the idea. Just weave your yarn into the stitches. You can come down into the stitches here as well. You don't need to just stay at the top. Same thing with your tail here. You're going to weave it into your stitches, and once you get good at that, it'll actually disappear so well you won't be able to find it yourself. All right, so I hope that was helpful. I'm going to put a bunch of information in the description box for you on yarn weights, the hook sizes, and all that. So definitely check that out, and all the links will be there as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it made sense, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.